By the way, what episode are we on?
We are now episode, I believe,
23 or 22?
Let me just, so we get it right. 23.
23, really? Wow. Okay, so should we get started?
Mm-hmm.
I'll clap one more time. All right, ready for episode 23, Chris?
23, sir.
Now, our millions of viewers might notice that Brandy's not here.
Sorry.
Yes,
Sorry,
yes,
buddy.
yes. I'd much rather have Brandy here in that seat than Chris. But I've got Chris because Brandy and I had a chat last night, and she's got so much work to do this week. We're going to San Diego for a conference on Saturday for the whole week, and she was a little stressed. So I said she could bail on our YouTube show today.
Luckily, I don't have a lot of work to catch up on because I'm not going to San Diego.
That's right, exactly. And also, we were going to do the episode that I wanted to about my new idea for a sports franchise, but you were giving me such lukewarm feedback. I need Brandy here. I need the enthusiasm. I even said at one point, Chris, give me something here. Bring it. Convince me that you're the guy for this. But I couldn't get that out of you. So we're going to do another topic, which is more in your wheelhouse, which is the top 11 tips on how someone should approach their new career, right? Yes. Now, we were going to do top 10, but everybody does top 10. So I thought 11 would be good, and I happen to come up with 11.
Why not more tips? We have more tips.
Oh, we have more tips, but I don't want to bore people and get to 12, 10's just not enough. 11's just right. 12 is too much, right?
They get one extra.
There you go. It's like one bonus one. Yeah, my final one is the bonus one, right? And by the way, my final one is the most important one.
Okay.
Above everything else, number 11, that's the ticket, right? Okay, let's start with number 1. Now, I've preached this to you for how long have we been together? More than a year.
Well, 3 to 4 years.
3 to 4 years?
Yeah, quite possibly.
Wow.
Yeah, more like 3.
Okay, well, I'm feeling like I'm not succeeding because I still can't get you to do this, but you're getting there. Arrive early, okay? Mm-hmm. So there's this thing called Lombardi time. You know what that is? Do you know who Vince Lombardi is?
You told me.
I know, but do you remember?
It's
not it. Yeah, he.
He's a baseball coach?
No, football coach. He's dead now. But he was the coach of the Green Bay Packers in the 60s, and they won 2 straight Super Bowls, right?
He said, show up early or don't show up at all.
Yeah, Lombardi time is show up. If you're early, you're on time. If you show up at the designated time, you're late. If you show up after the designated time, don't even bother showing up. Now, I heard this story. I don't know if it's true. Maybe one of the people watching can send in a message telling us whether it's true, but I heard that they unveiled a new clock at Lambeau Field in Green Bay. That's where Coach Lombardi was, right? And there was press there, and one of the news people or the press people raised their hand and said, wait, I think the clock is 15 minutes fast. And it was because of Lombardi time. And it's like it occurred to everyone at once that this is in honor of Vince Lombardi, that he was always be 15 minutes early. And he had a good rationale for it, which is when we start, you got to be ready to start, right? Mm-hmm. It doesn't mean get there at the designated time and start taking your coat off, getting your stuff on. No, that's when we start. In fact, I had a boss, Dan Oliveria, who was a great lawyer. And he used to say that with respect to his staff, he'd say, you start at 9 o'clock. That doesn't mean you show up, take your boots off, take your coat off. That means your fingers are on the keys tapping at 9 o'clock, which means you got to get there at 8:45, right? If that's the designated start time. And I'm a huge proponent of that. And I preach Lombardi time all the time with all my coworkers and people that are younger in particular because too many people are late these days. Now, the problem is it shows disrespect for the people that are on the call. If I'm always early. I'm like genetically early now. But if you are late, that's telling the people that you are meeting that your time is more valuable than their time, right? Oh, I'm sorry, I was busy with something else. Well, everyone's busy with something else. Life's busy. So number 1 is it's respectful to the people that you're with. 2, you might have technical issues. What if you're going on a Teams meeting or a Zoom meeting or something? And I've done this a lot where I start signing in and something weird happens, like my computer decides to reboot. Now you lose 2 minutes. So if you show up for an 8 o'clock meeting at 8, you're already late. So there's technical issues to deal with. So I would say with respect to Teams meetings, always be 5 minutes early, right? So if it's the top of the hour, be there at 55, which means you need to end your other meetings early. So I try to schedule meetings and let people know at the beginning I'm dropping off at 8:54 because I've got another meeting that starts at 9 and I got to be there at 8:55. So it's really a bunch about planning, right?
Yeah.
And then the other thing is if you're on site, you're going to a place, I'm going to a client meeting, you don't even necessarily know where you're going, right? I mean, you have GPS, but you get to a complex sometimes. I mean, you might show up at a big company like Exxon in Houston, and there are 20 buildings there, right? You got to navigate your way first, got to get through the first security, then you got to find the building, then you got to park somewhere, then you go in and they might want you to take their little test. There's a safety test maybe they make you sign an NDA, which you have to review. All that time, if your meeting starts at 9, that means you can't show up at 9. You got to get to the gate at like 8:20, you know? So what I typically do when I'm on the road is if I'm out of town and I'm going to a meeting, I will get there like an hour and a half early, find everything, figure out where I'm going to park, then go and sit at a coffee shop, and then still arrive and get into the foyer 15 minutes early. So to me, it's all about being early. My daughter, Emma, started a career as a medical device rep, and she's so early now all the time. She's always 15, 20 minutes early for every one of their, OR things. Mm-hmm. Her company starts now to recognize her as the early person. She's like super dependable, and people love her at that company because she's always early.
Well, that's a key word, dependable.
Dependable, right? It's a sign of dependability, right? Yeah. There's many things you have to do to show that you're dependable, but one is arrive early, right? Yeah. And we just had this discussion, Chris, you and me, right? Yeah. And you're becoming more about that. I'm like so ridiculous now that even when I'm like, oh shit, I didn't expect this. There's no way I'm going to be on time. I'm still like 2 minutes early when I'm going places.
Right.
And or I'll be looking, if I'm driving somewhere, I'll be looking at my clock and I have to be there at 9. And I ran into something totally unexpected and it wiped out like 15 minutes for me. I still get there before 9 somehow. But anyway, it's all up here, I think. And planning. Like, okay, if I have to be someplace at 9, how long does it take me to get there? 30 minutes. That means I can't leave any later than, and I want to be 15 minutes early. That means I got to be there. I have to leave 45 minutes early. But I'm in bed still. How long does it take me to brush my teeth, floss, shower, shave, and all that stuff? That's 30 minutes, okay? So I got to back off that 30 minutes. Oh, I want to eat something. Okay, how long does that take me? So you have to just keep backing off the time so you're early.
Yeah. Why do you think some people can't do it?
I think either they don't have spatial awareness of all the things that they have to do before they get there or how long it's going to take, because some people are like, they're well-intentioned, but they're like, oh, it'll probably take me a half hour to get there. But they don't think, wait a second, what if I have to stop for gas? Or, what are all the variables that are in my way before I get there? And some people just don't appreciate that it's important to be early. They're like, it says 9 o'clock, I'll pull up at 9 o'clock. Yeah. But if you can be early, number one, it does do the dependability. It makes you look dependable. But two, you get a moment to sit there peacefully and think about what you're about to do, right? I love when I get on early and no one's on the Teams meeting, or when I arrive early and I can just sit in my car and just kind of mentally process what I'm about to do. It gets my head in the game, right? Yeah. So anyway, that's number one. Now, want to go to number 2? Mm-hmm. Okay. Learn everything you can about your company and their products and services. Be a student of it, right? Lean into it. In your evening hours, you're learning about this. You're reading everything about their products. I don't know if these cameras can see, but up on the wall over here, I have pictures of the circulatory system, the nervous system, the skeletal system, and the muscular system. I hung those up because Emma became a medical device rep, and she was living here. So this gave her a chance to start learning as much as she could about the parts of the body that are relevant to her product so that she could be a star, right? Mm-hmm. You want to know everything you can about your company and everything you can about your products and services. Be the one who knows everything, right? Can you do that, Chris?
No, I should. Yeah.
You should do that.
I should do that.
Yeah, everybody should do that. But even you now, with the work that you're doing, you're doing it. You're doing a lot of video work for us, right? You're learning about all the various tools that are out there. Yeah. But it's really leaning into your job and really becoming a corporate enthusiast. Right. Be the biggest cheerleader for your company when you're out in the world. You're the face for the company, which means you need to know a lot. Right. You need to know a lot about your products and the company and be excited about it, right? Yeah. Be an enthusiast of your company. Okay, next one. Learn everything you can about your industry, too. And I have this buddy, Tim Campbell, who hopefully is watching. And Tim graduated from college with no background in our field, which is intellectual property, right? Patents, copyrights, trademarks, trade secrets, that sort of thing. So I trained him, and he would read books about it. Like every book I sent that guy about our industry, Tim would read. So I used to get invited every year to speak to 120 or so lawyers at a big, giant, Fortune 10 company out there, right? And I was one of their speakers at their annual event, right? And I probably spoke there for 4 years. 1 year, I got sick, so I asked Tim to go. Now, Tim is not a patent lawyer like I am. He doesn't have an intellectual property background other than what I gave him and all the work he did reading books. Mm-hmm. So he went and spoke. They thought he was a patent lawyer. Mm-hmm. The next year, they didn't call me back. They called him back. Yeah, they called Tim. But it's because he leaned into his industry so much that he became a bit of an expert. And he's been in that industry for his entire career. He's in his late 50s now, and this was when he was probably 24.
Can we get him on?
Oh, we got to get Tim on this podcast, yeah. Well, hopefully Tim will be here one day, and we can stick him in one of these seats. Okay, so next thing is become an expert on the tools of your trade, right? So you start a new job. What are the tools of my trade? What are the things I need to know about? If you're in sales, you need to know the sales tools. You got to be a master at, like, maybe you use Salesforce for your sales management system. You might use SalesLoft. You might use Outreach. You might use, Deal Hub as part of your sales process. Learn the processes of your company and learn all the tools. Maybe you're a tradesman and you need tools in your industry, right? Mm-hmm. Maybe you need AI as part of your tools. You need to learn Google Gemini or ChatGPT. Become great at these tools because they give you a massive advantage in the marketplace. They give you a massive advantage against your internal competitors, if you will. Mm-hmm. So do you have tools in your trade?
Yeah, Adobe, DaVinci Resolve.
Yeah, right? And also Microsoft Office Suite, like the normal Word, right? Yeah, or Excel or PowerPoint. I mean, you don't want to be the person that can't put together a PowerPoint deck, right?
My old boss told me that I should be learning all the programs that I need to use and get certified in them.
Yeah, that's an even better way, and it's easy to do these days.
Yeah.
You don't even have to formally get certified. Just go to YouTube. Yeah. But become an expert at those so that people come to you. Makes you more valuable in the company, and you're more efficient at your job. Mm-hmm. Whatever your job is, if you could use the tools faster and more efficiently than people around you, you'll be, looked at as somebody that everybody wants to go to. You'll be the go-to guy, right. But also you'll get your job done better. Okay, let's see. Oh, this is a big one for you, Chris. Be positive in all your interactions with your coworkers. Be a bright light in your office, right? And even if you're remote, be a bright light on Teams when you're in meetings. Tell people, you look good today. Chris, you look good today. You know what I mean? Be positive. Be complimentary of people around you.
So don't be when you talk to me about the sports team.
Exactly. Now, I don't want you to fake it, of course, but give me something, right? No, but I mean, that's the thing is that be a positive light. What that also means is don't be negative, right? I run into a striking amount of negative people in the workforce, and they're bitching about stuff all the time. It becomes your brand, right? You're the negative person, right? And the way that I would articulate it is everybody's got shit in their life. Everybody. Even people that you think look like they have nothing wrong and the world is perfect, they have shit. Leave it at the door, right? When you start your meeting, when you walk into the office, if you're still working in the office, leave all your personal crap at home, compartmentalize it, and give us your best day. Every day, I'm going to be optimistic and enthusiastic. The sky is falling outside of work. My roof is caving in. You don't need to spread that to your coworkers. Be positive. Be enthusiastic. Always be positive and enthusiastic when you're, in your workplace. Mm-hmm. Try to fight the temptation to bitch about your life, right? Yeah. Or to bitch about other people. Yeah. That's what people do as well. Yeah. I mean, that's one thing I'm not even just talking to our millions of viewers. I'm talking to Chris. Be enthusiastic and positive about what you're doing in the workplace.
Yeah.
Because it's a good example of if you're enthusiastic about something, other people might get enthusiastic about it. If you're not, even if you are inside but you're not showing it, they'll be like, why am I even paying attention to this guy? No, and that's a thing, right? Have you ever seen a speaker up at a podium and they're like fired up and they're excited? You're kind of excited even if you don't necessarily get interested in what they're talking about.
Yeah.
They're getting you excited. They're bringing you into their story. They're bringing you into their web of enthusiasm, right? And it makes them happier. And it brings the entire environment up. And a company's more productive then.
Yeah.
People are more productive when they're happy at work.
Yeah.
So your attitude, all of our attitudes should be, I'm going to try to bring people around me up in some way. And by the way, we're talking about careers, but that's also everywhere you go in life. You go to Tim Hortons. Be nice to the people that are behind the counter that are waiting on you, right?
Right.
Wherever you go. Where was the last place you were before you came here? By yourself.
I was at the gas station.
All right. Was there? Oh, it was self-serve.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can't be nice to anybody there.
I just looked at one guy. I was like.
So in other words, the exact opposite of what I'm preaching, right? Yeah, then he gave you the finger, and next thing you know, you guys are punching each other in the face. So you brought negative energy and created a really negative environment. Okay, so Chris, be a positive presence as you're starting your new career.
You can't make it if you're negative too.
No, nobody wants to be around you if you're negative, and you need people to want to be around you because every job has team goals, right?
Yeah, like the voice you're telling yourself too. You can't be negative.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right, because I had a great quote from somebody, which is, thoughts are things.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty cool quote when you think about it. In other words, what you think in your brain becomes a thing, right? And if you're always thinking these negative things, it's going to make you negative, right? But you can fake it. There's another great quote, which is fake it till you make it. Right. So you're miserable. You're walking into work one day. You got bit by a dog on the way in, right? And you don't even know if it has rabies, right?
Oh my God.
And then you're walking a little farther and a bird poops on your head. Like everything is hitting you every moment as you're walking in. So you get in and you're not happy, right? You got the poop in your hair, if you have hair. You got the bleeding leg on the side from the dog. But you got to act like you're motivated and happy. Fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
And there's I read this. No, you know what it was? Anthony Robbins. He used to be a very famous motivational speaker. He used to say that when you smile and you give a positive appearance, it actually changes your brain somehow, and it makes you happier, right? So anyway, be positive, Chris. Next is build relationships with your coworkers, right? Now, you're still getting new in your career, but you're going to find that you might spend more time with your coworkers than your own family members, your own friends. Some people spend more time with their coworkers than their spouses because you're with each other 8 to 10 hours a day if you're in the office together. And even if you're on Teams and you're remote, you're still talking all throughout the day on the phone or on Teams or Zoom or whatever your vehicle is, right? So, and you're getting to know each other very well. I mean, there's extreme examples like maybe a 2-car police car, right? They're together all day. But it's also coworkers in the office. You see each other all day, and you have to be there anyway. And having good relationships will make you happier and more productive. You got to go to the office anyway, so lean in and make friends with the people around you. Treat them as important parts of your life because they are, especially as you're building your career. Because here's what relationships can do. Number one, it makes you happier at work. But number two, gives you the opportunity for career growth, right? If you build relationships with people who are in influential positions and they get to know you and they get to like you, people want to work with the people they like. Now, if you're a crappy worker, you're not going to get promoted. But if you're a good worker, well, there's a lot of good workers. Who do you have good relationships with? Because, again, people like to work with people they like, people who they like. So building relationships with your, other people within the company. And if you're in a big company, it could offer other opportunities. Like I have one guy that works with me that was in the financial team, and he built relationships with people in sales, And they said, hey, if you're interested, we have a spot in sales. Do you want to try it? And now he's doing great at sales. He wouldn't have gotten that opportunity if he hadn't built relationships with other people outside of his own department. Oh, and also build relationships in your industry, okay? That means you go to conferences, you go to events, you go to client offices. These are all people that are humans. They're not just clients. They're actually people, right? Mm-hmm. You can build relationships with them, and number one, it'll create more stickiness in your relationship with that company. Two, it will enhance your life because these are people that are like-minded. You're selling to them, or you're partnering with them, or you see them at conferences. You're all in the same industry. You know, you probably have a lot in common. I have one friend, he works for a company in the Netherlands, Jan Willem Goodmacher. And Jan Willem and I have become buddies over the years. He's been a client for 7 years. Every time I'm in his area, which is a town in the Netherlands, I always get together with him and his wife for dinner. Whenever I write a new book, he always edits it for me. You know, if we're ever doing, he's been on our podcast before. Not this one, but the other one I do with Ray, Stuff You Need to Know About IP. Mm-hmm. I think Jan Willem's been a guest 5 or 6 times.
Wow.
But he's a client. But because I lean into building relationships, he and I have become really good friends. If I hadn't leaned in and just treated him like a client, I'd barely even know the guy. But now we've had a client relationship for 7 years, and I have a great personal relationship with him. So build relationships, Chris. Oh, here's another one. Not only should you build relationships, but don't build negative relationships.
Oh, man.
You know, because here's the thing. It's like, don't build negative relationships with your neighbors, and don't build negative relationships at work because you're going to be with them every day. You know, you get into a fight with somebody, it's going to get really awkward and uncomfortable for you. And oh, by the way, who are these people you're in a fight with? They might try to poison you with other people at the company. Now you're the center of drama.
Yeah.
No one wants to work with people who are drama. Certainly no one wants to promote somebody who's filled with drama. Yeah. So don't build negative relationships. Better to have neutral than a negative relationship with someone at work. And what you do is, if you feel yourself, you know, everybody's got triggers, right? We know some people with triggers. And there's topics you can't discuss with them, but you want to, right? You want to talk about them.
It's like a button.
Yeah. Refrain from doing that with them because if it's their hot button, they're going to get pissed. They might share a different ideology than you, and that could be anything. It could be politics. It could be religion. It could be what sports team you like, right? Yeah. I've had people that don't like, so we live in Buffalo, right? And there's a ton of Buffalo Bills fans around here. I have people that don't like anyone from Miami because of the Dolphins or Boston because of New England Patriots, right?
Yeah.
Which seems a little crazy to us that you'd get that emotional that you don't even like anyone from there. But some people are fanatical. So what do I do if I'm with them? I don't talk about football. Right?
Yeah.
We talk about other things.
Well, one mistake I did was one of my coworkers asked me, "So do you like the Bills? You're a big Bills guy, right?" And I said, "Oh, I don't really watch football." And then we never became friends.
Yeah, never talked to you again. Right. Now, you're in a difficult spot there because he says, "Do you like the Bills?" It's not like you went up to him and said, "Oh, I hate the Bills," or "I'm indifferent to the Bills." Yeah. He actually asked you about it, right?
So you gotta like the Bills, right? Come on, man.
Yeah, and, I know. And you know, we're in Buffalo, right? Yeah. And people around here love the Bills. Yeah. So, but in that case, it was almost unavoidable. The only thing you could have done to avoid that is said, "Oh, hell yes.
Let's go."
Yeah, right. You could have done that, but that might have been disingenuous.
Yeah.
But for the most part, you want to stay away from topics. You know, there used to be an expression when I was younger, which is, when you're at the dinner table, don't talk about religion or politics. Because they're very, you know, they're supposed to be unifying if you have the same views, but they can also be very divisive.
Yeah, it's not a good move.
And it's the same thing in the workplace. In fact, in the workplace, it could actually be considered creating a hostile work environment.
Right.
And you might get called in by HR. Because I read a case where a woman was like, she didn't like Trump. And she went into an office with a whole bunch of people that love Trump. And they were always talking about it and kind of harassing her a little bit because, you know, she didn't like him. And she went to HR, and I think she prevailed in getting some kind of justice on that. But it's because her attitude is, look, let's just not talk about it, okay?
Yeah.
I have to be here every day. I can't leave. I can't go and work at home. We have to be in the office, and we're all in a bullpen.
Yeah.
And all you do is talk about somebody that is really stressing me out. Now, in the olden days, it wouldn't matter, but now with HR, they're very sensitive about things
Right.
like that. So there's topics that you got to, and what does that mean, though? Get to know people, right?
Yeah.
That goes back to building relationships. Get to know people so you know what their hot buttons are.
Just avoid.
Yeah, avoid pressing people's hot buttons, right?
Yeah.
I mean, unless you're someone who likes to do that and you like to annoy people, right? But don't be that guy at work. Be
Yeah.
that guy out at bars or like, in your clubs that you go to, but don't be that one at work.
Yeah.
So
It's work mode. Like it's a.
yeah, you got to be in work. And I'm saying build great relationships. I'm just saying get to know people enough that you know what their hot buttons are,
Yeah.
and then avoid those hot buttons. Now, if you might share their view on certain things, then it's totally fine. You can talk about those things, but be sensitive on these really, let's just say confrontational issues,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So, and by the way, here's another good one, which is related. Learn about the HR rules, human resources,
Yeah.
okay? When I was younger, human resources, I don't even think there was like a VP of human resources when I was younger. It wasn't really a thing. But certainly in America, we're becoming much more sensitive, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's almost like, I'm not saying that we're more easily offended, but we're more vocally offended, right? I mean, it's possible that before there was HR departments, people were just as offended. They just didn't say anything, right?
Right.
They didn't speak up. But now, if people are offended about pretty much anything, they can go to HR because it's creating a hostile work environment. So what I would become is very conscious and aware of HR rules. Get to know the HR people. If you have something that you want to do that is even on the line, talk to HR first and see what they think about it. Because you want to build a career, right? Well, one way to build a career, one thing that's good for you is not getting reprimanded by HR, not being somebody that can't be trusted to be in an environment where, there are sensitive people, right? So, another thing, don't get drunk at corporate events,
Oh my God.
okay? Now, I know it sounds kind of stupid maybe, but here's the thing. You're going to go to corporate events. Or industry events. It could be like, you go out to Chicago because you have your annual conference of everybody in your industry, and you're part of that. Well, people do a lot of drinking at these conferences, and I've been going to them for decades, right?
Yeah.
And people get really hammered at these conferences. The problem is your inhibitions are down, and you say things you might really regret. In fact, there's an expression called the Sunday scaries, right?
Oh.
Have you ever heard that?
No. I heard
Okay.
the Monday scares.
Maybe Monday scaries, right? They're scaries.
Yeah.
And that is, what did I do last night?
Oh.
Right?
Okay. I see.
What did I do?
Yeah.
And when I was in college and I did a little bit of drinking, I would feel like that. Oh my God, what did I do last night? You don't want that to be the case with your coworkers. It's one thing if it's your friends, your college friends, your community friends. That's one thing. That's bad enough. But now it's your coworkers, people you have to go into the office and see all the time, people who might have a say in your promotion, right?
Mm-hmm.
Could be your boss. It could be somebody in a related group that is, somehow tied to you and your future, right?
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to give people the impression that you're irresponsible. I'm not saying don't drink. I'm saying
Just don't get.
don't get hammered because it's too risky. I tell my kids this all the time. When you go to a corporate event, sure, here's what I do, okay? I buy a drink because you don't want people to be uncomfortable around you, right? Because people drink and they don't want them to think that I look down on you because you're drinking, right? So I buy a drink, especially because I've typically been the boss of the various companies I've been in.
Yeah.
So I don't want my people to think they can't drink.
Yeah.
And if I don't drink, the boss casts a shadow, right? So what I'll do is I'll buy one drink and I'll buy everybody around, and then people are comfortable. Okay, we're allowed to drink. I'm not saying they should get drunk, but at least they're comfortable.
Just hold it to look cool.
I just hold it so that it looks like I'm drinking,
Yeah.
and I nurse it. It's an expression which is called nursing it all night.
Yeah.
So maybe I drink that much of it.
Yeah.
One day I'm at an event, and one of my sales guys, his name was Chris, He comes over to me, he goes, "Is that still your first drink?" Now, mind you, everyone in our group is on like their 8th drink, okay? And I'm saying, I haven't really been counting. And he goes, "Tom, I've been watching you. You have not gotten through even half of that." So I told him why. I said, "Look, I don't want to get drunk at an event, right? And I don't think you should either. But you can. It's an event. We're out in public. I don't own you.
Yeah.
But and then I had to give him my little pitch. Now, he was hammered at the time, so I don't think he remembered my pitch. But so that's one way to do it, is just hold a drink and don't necessarily drink it, because then, it's kind of disarming for people. They don't feel like, oh my God, Tom's going to judge me. Okay, so I got 2 more here. One is exit well, okay? Now, jobs come to an end. It's just a fact of life. The days of people working 35 years at one company might come back, but they've been gone for a while. My dad worked for a company called Occidental Chemical, formerly Hooker Chemical, for 35 or 36 years. It was his entire career. He started as a young chemical engineer guy, and he worked his way up to management. But he was at the same company for all that time. These days, that doesn't happen. You look at people's resumes.
Yeah.
They have a company every 4 or 5 years, which means they're leaving companies. Now, if you leave a company because you don't like it there anymore, you might be tempted to drop bombs on your way out. Blast people. Here's why I'm leaving. You bastard.
What do people do? Do people write about it?
I've had them write them about me.
Oh.
So, people who have exited because they've said things about me. They've written resignation letters.
Oh.
Yeah,
okay.
you write a letter and you basically blast people around you. I'm leaving because of this, 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 and this. Here's what that does. It makes you feel good for like 10 minutes. For the rest of your life, you are known as the guy who exited that company and blasted everyone around them. You've burned all those relationships. You never know when you'll face them again in the future. You never know if you're going to want a reference from that company that you just blasted all of your people. So what I would say with respect to that is, be cool. If you're going to exit. If you're so angry about something that happened, just keep it to yourself and just exit and move on, because it doesn't help you anymore, again, than like to feel good for a minute and then it's over. And now you're just known as the guy that blasted everybody.
Yeah.
But it's more than that. It's leave well. I had a guy named John McCabe working for me. He was my CFO. He resigned in favor of another job. He gave me 2 weeks' notice. That guy worked 14 days for us to get us all set up for when the next guy got there. He worked till 10 o'clock Sunday night before he started his new job on Monday. I've given him 2 job references since then, and I've told this story. In fact, I do corporate training videos. Yeah. I did a training video on him on how to exit your job. This guy, he left, and he had like a halo around his head because he did everything right. Now, did he have reasons that might have made him upset, which is why I wanted to leave? I don't think so, but he might have. He didn't mention any to us. He probably just wanted to change jobs because he had been with us for like 4 years. But the point is, he left so well that he got references from me. I made a video about the situation. And the 2 people that I gave references when I told that story, they were very impressed. Because it's more than just saying, yeah, the guy was a good worker. He worked hard, worked long. But I actually gave a story that put some meat on the bones of what I was trying to describe about this guy.
Wow.
So, in fact, I've had these discussions with many people in your age group when they come to me and say, I'm leaving my job. What do you think? And I always say, it's fine, but exit well. Work your ass off on the way out. Don't leave anything undone. Don't leave bombs everywhere that people are going to touch and it's going to explode. Make sure that people look back at you and say, wow, that guy was really good, or that woman was really good.
No, that's a great story because it's already an unpleasant situation. He made it good.
He made it good, right? He made a situation that could have been awkward into a situation that was super uplifting. And I'm still talking about it. Yeah. It's September 3rd, 2025. I think this happened in 2005.
Wow.
20 years ago, and I'm still talking about it. So exit well.
Maybe it's in your cassette.
It
Maybe you
might
talked
be.
about it in one of your
That's
diaries.
right.
Yeah,
It right
yeah.
might be.
Might try to find that.
That'd be pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay. Final point, final tip, and it's the biggest one, the most important one, and that is it's simply 3 words. Get shit done. Be a person who gets shit done. No excuses, right? You got a job to do. Get it done. Oh, you got to work till 11:30, 12 o'clock at night? Do it. Get it done. Don't say, oh, I couldn't do it because. I couldn't get there on time because. Excuses to me, I don't even listen to them. I don't even care how good the excuse is. I really don't, because you got to get shit done. Be ahead, right? Stuff is going to happen that's going to slow you down. Life gets in the way of work, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's catastrophes that happen. So always be ahead and get shit done. And don't be the person of excuses. Be the person who, when someone sees you, they say, oh, that guy gets shit done. Because if you get shit done, I want you to do more stuff, right?
Yeah.
I want you to be a guy who takes on more responsibilities. Then I want you to manage other people. I have my guy, Ray, who we both know very well.
Mm-hmm.
I love this guy.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Many reasons. One is he gets shit done.
Yeah.
When he joined our company as the sales manager, I said, Ray, make all the salespeople Ray. Turn them all into you. Because I wish I had 10 of Ray, because he gets stuff done. He's not, what's the word I'm looking at? Incapable. Even if he doesn't know how to do it, he figures it out, right? His goal is, I'm given a task, I'm going to get it done. And ever since he started doing that, I've given him more and more tasks. This guy started as a cold caller. I then moved him into operations, and he took over all of our video production within like a year. Wow. Because I saw him as a person who gets stuff done. He was so brilliant at that job, he turned our entire department around. I moved him into sales, had everything feeding into him, and he was great at that job. Not only did he sell, but he set up all of our infrastructure. So then when I got the new opportunity over at the parent company as the director of sales, I put him in as my one manager because he gets stuff done, right?
Right.
So anyway, that guy's gotten promoted like crazy in the last 7 years because he gets stuff done. It's probably the most important thing. Get stuff done. Anything else before we wrap, Chris?
No, I heard a knock, but I said to my sound guy last night, who I just hired out of nowhere, he was pushing the film crew beyond the capabilities, and he was just like handling shit. I was like, I'm hiring that guy again.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
He gets stuff done.
Yeah.
All right. On that note, let's wrap.
Yes, sir.
All right.